He was born in an obscure village, the child of a peasant woman. He worked in a carpenter shop until he was 30. Then for 3 years, he was an itinerant preacher. In his lifetime, he never traveled more than 200 miles from the place where he was born. He did none of the things one usually associates with greatness. He had no credentials but himself. He was only 33 when the tide of public opinion and his own friends turned against him. He was handed to his enemies and subjected to the mockery of a trial. Then he was nailed to a cross between two thieves. As he was dying, his executioners gambled for his clothing, his only property. When he died, he was laid in a borrowed grave. Armies have marched, navies have sailed, parliaments have sat, and kings have reigned, but one simple man has affected the lives of people the world over for centuries.
Welcome everyone on this beautiful winter afternoon. We're so happy to be here. So we are telling the nativity story, but we are telling the nativity story from a strictly Celtic perspective and from a musical perspective. And our objective is to tell a story of the nativity that is appropriate for everyone. We like to have fun with our stories and project our love for the music and for the world around us and for each other. Our next set is themed around Mary. We call it the Mary set. It has some beautiful tunes, and we like to think it's about Mary with kind of a sense of humor.
Thank you so much. So we're Dashing Rock Celtic Trio, and I'm going to ask Betsy in a moment to say a little bit more about where that name came from. Why Dashing Rock? But I'd like to introduce the band. Getting on yet another weapon is Dave Cabral. He plays many things, and I'll talk more about the instruments in a moment. And here's Betsy K. Tudut, and I'm Sarah McCuniff. Betsy, tell us about the name.
So I live in Nahant, Massachusetts, which some of you might be familiar with. It's also on the coast, but just a little bit farther north. And where I live geographically, where my house sits, is actually called Dashing Rock. Geographically, you can see it on maps of Nahant, and it's just like what you would think. It's kind of a cliff with some rocks and a lot of waves, and it's just a really beautiful, cool place. I'm so lucky that I'm the caretaker of this little part of the world. And when we first moved there, I thought, what a great name for a band. So when we moved there, it was just about the time where we formed Dashing Rock. And I said, hey, let's name our group Dashing Rock. We thought it was a great idea. The only problem is sometimes people think we're a rock band.
A well-dressed rock
And
band.
we are not, as you probably have gathered. So we have started to make sure people understand that we're Dashing Rock Celtic Trio. And yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you might have noticed also we have a lot of instruments up here. We do tend to travel with an unbelievable number of instruments. And we keep finding excuses to add more. At this point, our stage looks a bit like a Celtic yard sale. But choosing the right combination of instruments to get the right sounds is a really important part of our creative process. We need the sounds, the different sounds, to help paint the story we want to paint for you. So to this set, we've added the Scottish small pipes. Very different from the big ones, which don't play well with others unless it's the same, same type. So these are more tame, usually. But we feel they bring a hint of strangeness and wildness to the sound, perfect for the uncertainty in the story we're telling this afternoon. In Mary's Joy, this set, we imagine Mary and Joseph gathering themselves before their long journey. And in The Road North, the rhythm settles into the steady, faithful step of the donkey carrying them towards Bethlehem. Like I said, strangeness and wildness. It's kind of black magic over there.
So next up, we're going to play a couple of my favorite Christmas tunes. The Huron Carol, which is a very old Canadian carol, and another Christmas tune called In the Bleak Midwinter. I love this tune so much. The words to it are an old English poem, and it's set to music by Gustav Holst.
In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter, long ago. Angels and archangels may have gathered there, cherubim and seraphim thronged the air. But his mother only, in her maiden bliss, worshipped the beloved with a kiss. What can I give him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would bring a lamb. And if I were a wise man, I would do my part. Yet what can I give him? I would give my heart. So now, all right, everyone, we're going to switch gears into something a little more raucous because it is Christmas time after all. And what would the holidays be without a little bit of joyful chaos? This next number is called Christmas in Carrick. It's a tune that celebrates exactly what so many of us know all too well this time of year. Big gatherings, too much food, too much laughter, and families who can't seem to talk without talking over one another. It's the spirit of eat, drink, and be merry wrapped up in music. So now this arrangement is a wild ride because it weaves together a whole medley of polkas and session favorites. You'll hear flashes of the mischievously titled Hanging by One Nut, the ever-energetic Polka with Teeth, and even a nod to the sea shanty, The Wellerman. And then halfway through the set, we'll take a little breather with the classic Glass of Beer. And then we'll hit the pedal to the floor with St. Patrick's Andro and finish with a very catchy Evan Polka. So as we drive into this medley, feel free to tap along or clap along or just picture the warmth in a slightly chaotic glow of a holiday gathering where everyone's talking at once, the table's overflowing, and the spirit of the season is impossible to miss. On the road the frost is glistening, people stream from midnight mass. Friendly candles glow in windows, strangers greet you as you pass. Home and to the laden table, ham and goose and pints of beer. Whiskey handed around in tumblers, Christmas comes but once a year. Puddings made with eggs and treacle, seeded raisins and ground suet, salted breadcrumbs and mixed spices, grated rind and plenty fruit, cinnamon, ginger, cloves and nutmeg, porter, brandy and old ale. Don't forget the wine and whiskey, Christmas comes but once a year. Plenty fussing in the kitchen, lay the food on every plate. Men impatient in the hallway, Guinness, porter while we wait. Who cares if we work tomorrow? Now's the time to spread good cheer. Pass the punch around the table, Christmas comes but once a year.
this next set of tunes begins with the carol, the Christmas carol, "Do You Hear What I Hear?" It might be a familiar song for a lot of you around Christmas time, but did you know that this song was actually written in 1962 as an appeal for peace during the Cuban Missile Crisis, which is so interesting. But we also felt like it was very timely and something to think about with a lot of what's going on in the world around us. So followed by "Do You Hear What I Hear?" We'll play a couple tunes that Sarah and I wrote. Sarah wrote a tune called "Jolakaturen," which is basically kind of a Norwegian-themed tune about a cat, which cats figure prominently in Sarah's life. And I wrote a tune called "The Mouse Hunt," which is about my lifelong ambition to see a moose in the wild, but I've only successfully seen a mouse.
My cat did not bother her mouse.
No, it has nothing to do with the cat and the mouse yet.
Said the night wind to the little lamb, "Do you see what I see? Way up in the sky, little lamb, do you see what I see? A star dancing in the night, with a tail as big as a kite, with a tail as big as a kite." Said the little lamb to the shepherd boy, "Do you hear what I hear? Ringing through the sky, shepherd boy, do you hear what I hear? A song, high above the trees, with a voice as big as the sea, with a voice as big as the sea." Said the shepherd boy to the mighty king, "Do you know what I know? In your palace warm, mighty king, do you know what I know? A child shivers in the cold, let us bring him silver and gold. Let us bring him silver and gold." Said the king to the people everywhere, "Listen to what I say. Pray for peace, people everywhere. Listen to what I say. The child sleeping in the night, he will bring us goodness and light. He will bring us goodness and light. Thank you.
So the next, if I can get around to this, the next tunes we are going to play is our What Child Is This and Carol of the Bells. You'll probably recognize both of those tunes, but what you may not recognize is this. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. This is the nyckelharpa. The nyckelharpa is a Swedish instrument. It is actually the national folk instrument of Sweden. So if you ask a Swedish person, they will probably know what this instrument is, but a lot of people will not. And it's becoming quite popular in Celtic music recently. And part of that is because of Norway and Sweden's proximity, and the Scandinavian countries' proximity to the Celtic nations. And some, especially like some of the northern islands, Shetland and Orkney, we're going to play an Orkney tune later. The kind of influence, if you listen to some of the Shetland tunes, you can hear a little bit of a Nordic influence. Well, that's starting to kind of all kind of meld together and cross over, and it's really, really quite interesting. So that's one of the things that we are kind of striving to do, is kind of meld all these cool instruments and cultures together. So.
Okay, so we're going to go to an even quieter place, and we're going to share a song that's a band favorite. This song is called Oft in the Silly Night. It's a beautifully nostalgic piece based on a poem by the Irish writer Thomas Moore. It's one of those songs that gently leans into memory, the quiet moments when the world settles down and our thoughts wander to the people and places that shaped us. In between verses, we've taken two reels, The Humors of Westport and another called The Rose, and we've slowed them way down so they actually take on a completely different feeling. And you know, there's something about this song in particular that always makes me think of another familiar poem that we all grew up with, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," where children are all nestled all snug in their beds, full of magic and waiting for Santa. While Often the Silly Night gives us the wonder of remembering where we've come from and who we carry with us, both invite us into that same special stillness of night, that feeling when the house is quiet and the world outside is hushed. So as I sing this, I invite you to lean into that quiet where memories, hope, and the warmth of the season all mix together. Oft in the stilly night, ere slumber's chain has bound me, fond memory brings the light of other days around me. The smiles, the tears of boyhood's years, the words of love then spoken, the eyes that shone now dimmed and gone, the cheerful hearts now broken. Thus in the stilly night, ere slumber's chain hath bound me, sad memory brings the light of other days around me. When I remember all the friends so linked together, I've seen around me fall like leaves in wintry weather. I feel like one who treads alone some banquet hall deserted, whose lights are fled, whose garlands dead, and all but he departed. Thus in the stilly night, ere slumber's chain hath bound me, sad memory brings the light of other days around me.
All right, so this is going to take us to a not-so-quiet place. I can mention this instrument here. If you can't see it, it's a shruti. It's an Indian instrument. It was adapted from the European harmonium. You can't see it, I'll hold it up. It's a bellows. Playing it with my knee. And it has these little dials here, and I can make any chord I want. And right now I have to change it. Very high tech. So, in this next set, you're going to hear some sounds you might not normally associate with a Christmas concert. One is this shruti, and another one is the African djembe. And the other unusual sound is you'll hear fifes. So we have fifes and drums, or fifes and drum. But this is absolutely in the spirit of Christmas. One of the tunes we're playing is Patapan. And in the lyrics it says, when we hear the fife and drum, tooriloorilloo, patapatapan. When we hear the fifes and drums, Christmas should be frolicsome. Sounds good to me. And we have our own little drummer boy, which we're going to play too, Dave. And fun fact, the three of us actually met through playing fifes and drums together. So this set brings us right back to where it all started. And Betsy and I are going to carefully push our mics away from us because fifes are an outdoor weapon. You think we're reading too?
Yeah, close enough.
Fifes and drums.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Somebody said, do we need a drink with this one? Yes, we do.
Here we come a-wassailing among the leaves so green. Here we come a-wandering so fairly to be seen. Here we come a-wandering so fairly to be seen. Love and joy come to you, and a Merry Christmas too. God bless you and send you a Happy New Year. God send you a Happy New Year. We aren't just daily beggars that beg from door to door. We're just the neighbor's children, oh, you've seen us all before. We're just the neighbor's children, and you've seen us all before. Love and joy come to you, and a Merry Christmas too. God bless you and send you a Happy New Year. God send you a Happy New Year. We got a little purse, you know, it's made of leather skin. We need a golden penny just to line it well within. We need a golden penny just to line it well within. Love and joy come to you, and a Merry Christmas too. God bless you and send you a Happy New Year. God send you a Happy New Year. Call all your friends up to the house, put on your golden ring, and raise a dram to good friends, the better we will sing. Raise a dram to good friends, the better we will sing. Love and joy come to you, and a Merry Christmas too. God bless you and send you a Happy New Year. God send you a Happy New Year. Here we come a-wassailing among the leaves so green. Here we come a-wandering so fairly to be seen. Here we come a-wandering so fairly to be seen. Love and joy come to you, and a Merry Christmas too. God bless you and send you a Happy New Year. God send you a Happy New Year.
I know. It's okay.
Okay, so the holidays can bring joy, but for some they also bring quiet nights filled with longing or loss. This next set, woven from tunes that all carry the word night, is dedicated to anyone who has lost someone dear, faced challenges this year, or are simply carrying a little extra weight on your heart. May the music wrap around you like a warm blanket and remind you that hope, love, and brighter days are never far away, and even the silent nights hold light. So before we play this second to last tune tonight, or this afternoon, we want to thank each and every one of you for coming and being here with us. In the Celtic tradition, music has always been more than just notes and rhythms. It's a way of weaving stories, memories, and hearts together across time and distance. This next piece, Auld Lang Syne, carries that spirit beautifully. Its words remind us to cherish old friendships, honor the moments we've shared, and hold close the ties that bind us, even as time moves on. It's a song of parting, yes, but it's also one of gratitude and hope, sung for generations across Celtic lands as one year gives way to the next. So as we play, we invite you to think of those dear to you, near and far, and to let the music carry you into that timeless space where memory and celebration meet. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and Auld Lang Syne? For Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne, we'll take a cup of kindness here. Auld Lang Syne. We too have run about the hills and pulled the daisies fine, but we wandered many a weary foot since Auld Lang Syne. We too have paddled in the brook from morning sun till dinner time, but seas between us broad have roared since Auld Lang Syne. And here's a hand, my trusty friend, and give a hand of thine, and we'll take a goodwill draft, my friend, Auld Lang Syne. And surely you'll buy your pint cup, and surely I'll buy mine, and we'll take a cup of kindness here, Auld Lang Syne.
So the next set we're gonna do is called the Orkney set. It starts with an Orkney, we call it the Orkney set. It starts with an Orkney tune called An Orkney Christmas by Graham Rory. And then we're going to follow it with The Frost is All Over and Jenny's Wedding.